This is the remnants of the cemetery at Fort Cummins. Sacred to the memory of, looks like Thos Ronan, age 29, L.S. Hunter, age 33, Charles Devon, age 28, and Thos Daly, age 26 or 28. Late privates of the, I can't read that, 1st Vet something Infantry Cavalry Volunteers killed by Apaches attack at Oak Grove, New Mexico, January 17th, 1866. I think all the graves have been dug up and the remains interred to a military cemetery somewhere else. There seems to be very little for markings here. Here's an unmarked grave. I don't know who it belonged to, but possibly they couldn't identify it as a military veteran, so they didn't dig it up. Got a marker here, but it's not at the fort itself. I guess it's because this picture was taken from this spot. So you would have been seeing the fort over there. That little bit of remnant of a building that we'll be going over to is that big building right there. Sand. Boy, I tell you, it makes me wish I had a lighter bike when I'm out in places like this and hit that soft sand. Well, this is the remnants of Fort Cummins. Most of it was built from adobe bricks, and it don't take very many years for the water and wind to wear down adobe, it just melts. Made from mud and grass and whatever stones was in the mud. It's amazing it's lasted this long. Another 100 years, there won't be any remnants of old Fort Cummins out here. They use like cookie cutters to forms to make these adobe brick, and then they dry them in the sun and they stack them up to make buildings. And they do it just like bricklayers do. They lay down a layer of mud, put the dried adobe bricks on it, lay down another layer of mud, and keep working their way up. In my opinion, you should never be able to post land that is a historical monument. Well, we'll see if they come and throw us off or have us arrested. Old Fort Cummins Stage Station on the Butterfield Trail, 1858 to 1861. The Daughters of the American Revolution, 1935. That stone was erected in 1935, I guess. There's remnants of another building out that way. These were rock walls instead of adobe brick, but they used adobe for their mud to mud them up, so they're not lasting any longer than the adobe brick. There's just not much wall left standing. And moving those big rocks is more work than laying adobe brick, I can tell you that. All those mounds out there, each one represents where another building was. There's a place that they use for a dump out a little further. But there's not much left here to see. It's been picked over by trophy hunters for the last couple hundred years. And the government doesn't have anybody out here watching it to make sure that you don't tear down the walls or pick up old artifacts. So there's really nothing left out here except the mounds to show where the buildings were. Cook Spring. all modernized with the solar panels up there. The Mormon Battalion, 1845 to 1846 to 1847, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel George Cook, and thus we have Cook's Peak over there. The U.S. Army's Mormon Battalion camped at Cook Spring on November 16, 1846. 500 Mormon volunteers blazed a trail over 1,100 miles from Council Bluffs, Iowa to San Diego, California during the war with Mexico. History will be searched in vain for an equal march of infantry. This was put here by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, April 6, 1980. Under penalty of law, no trespassing. And there's not much to see in there. All rock wall. And this was probably all dug by hand. And it was dug very deep. This is called Cook Spring House. There used to be a lot of buildings around it. It's an important and abundant water resource that has been intermittently utilized by various Indian groups for the past 10,000 years. Historic use of the spring began in 1780 when Spanish Governor Juan Bautista de Anza visited the spring while searching for a new route to Chihuahua. In 1846, Lieutenant Colonel Philip St. George Cook led the Mormon Battalion, a part of General Stephen W. Kearny's Army of the West, to the spring while in search of a new wagon road to California. From 1846 to 57, Western travelers used the spring, including livestock drivers, gold miners, and immigrants. In 1857, George Giddings San Antonio San Diego Mail Company inaugurated a stage mail service between Texas and California. Cook Spring was a critical watering station for Giddings teams. In 1858, John Butterfield was awarded a mail contract to replace Giddings and established the Butterfield Overland Mail Company. That stage carried mail and passengers from Dickie, Missouri to San Francisco, California. Butterfield Station was established near the spring. The U.S. government ordered closure of the line in March of 1861 in response to Texas secession from the Union. Subsequently, Confederate and Union forces utilized the spring during the Civil War. Because of numerous Apache depredations on Western travelers, the U.S. Army established Fort Cummins near the spring in 1860, and I can't read that. I'm going to guess that's 1863 maybe. The current spring house structure was built by the AT&SF Railroad in 18 something. You can't read that one either. Water flowed by gravity from the spring house to the railroad at Florida Station. And I have no idea where that is. The above photograph was taken in the mid-1880s. The roof was reconstructed in 1987. And that concludes our trip. Well, almost. There's a little something here to show you. I picked these up. I was up here about a month ago in my Jeep. These are called flint nappings. This is actually flint. Flint's a little hard to find around here. Often they traded for it. This is a piece of flint also. This is nappings from making arrowheads as the Indians sat around out here watching the soldiers in the fort. When they weren't busy attacking, they were chipping out arrowheads. And of course the ones that I found that looked like almost finished arrowheads were picked up by people as they come here and visit the springs, and they only leave the flint nappings behind. But I'm sure there's arrowheads around here someplace if you looked hard enough. But these are all man-made. I've never found a full arrowhead here. I've found some that were close. But I haven't spent a lot of time looking either. You find them over in the washes over there. They come down from, the Indians were up on the hills up there making them, and they've washed down in floods. Well, the way out of here is pretty much the same as the way in. There won't be much change in the video, so we'll turn the video off, and we'll get this up on YouTube so that you all can see this. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye. One man down. Should have left the video camera on. Hit some really soft sand. It didn't look that soft, but it dropped me onto the dirt. Now I got to get out my dirt napper and pick this back up again. So let's get at it.